An authoritative new study says it is highly unlikely that the coronavirus came from animals in the Wuhan wet market. Reports suggest China is trying to hack our vaccine research here at home, causing some Americans to worry about the impact the Chinese Communist Party could have on the rest of the world. Here's Secretary of State Mike Pompeo earlier today on Fox News.
China's efforts to use their wealth, state-owned enterprises, and their authoritarian regime in Africa, in the Straits, sea lanes all around the world, present real risks to the United States of America and to free nations.
Joining us now, Olivia Enos with the Heritage Foundation Asian Studies Center. Olivia, thanks very much for being with us. The Chinese government lied about the origination or the timeline of the coronavirus. It has made people who were whistleblowers about the virus, even doctors, disappear. That country seems to be trying to hide something, does it not?
Well, John, there are many things that we don't know about the origins of the virus, for example, but what we do know is that what China does internally, silencing whistleblowers, forcibly disappearing citizen journalists, and obfuscating the facts, like not reporting accurate death and infection rates, isn't just an internal matter. What we know is that China's failure to disclose key information at critical moments made it so that the rest of the world was less prepared for combating COVID-19. And so, knowing what we do know, the U.S. really needs to take the lead in pressing for transparency in China and calling for an independent, apolitical, international investigation into how the Chinese Communist Party mishandled the coronavirus response. And I think that means not just looking into the facts of what has happened, but actually identifying individuals and entities within the Chinese Communist Party and beyond who are responsible for the severe human rights violations, as well as for the cover-up.
Congressman Doug Collins, Republican of Georgia, is authoring legislation that would allow China to be sanctioned and have some of its assets in this country frozen. I want you to hear what he has to say, and then I'll ask your opinion. Here's Congressman Collins.
This time China decides if they want to be a world economic power, they also have to be a responsible world economic power. They can't treat the world like they treat their citizens, which is to keep them under oppression and make them believe every bit of communist doctrine that they want to believe. And what we're going to do is say, if you want to actually be a part of the world, you need to be out there and give a full accounting, an international accounting of what you did and what you did not do. So we're going to put it in effect to give the president a way to sanction.
What do you think about sanctioning and maybe freezing Chinese assets?
I think that it is highly, highly likely that there will be sanctioning as a consequence for the ways that the Chinese Communist Party mishandled the coronavirus cover-up. I think we already have some authorities on the books, for example, global Magnitsky sanctions, which enables the U.S. Treasury to target individuals and entities for committing human rights violations, like the silencing of Dr. Li Wenliang, the whistleblower who's so infamous for sharing first about COVID-19. But I think that there may be also other sanctions authorities worth exploring, looking at how we target those individuals who did not report the facts, who in fact made it so that China reported to the World Health Organization that COVID-19 was not transmissible from human to human, despite having witnessed that human-to-human transmission inside of China itself. And so I think that there's a real need to press for this and to call in other partners from around the world, responsible stakeholders, for example, like Australia, that's already calling for an investigation, as well as Taiwan, which we know has done a fantastic job as a government responding to the outbreak within their own borders.
And just as we wrap up here, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo put out a statement today saying that it has come to his attention that China is threatening the work of American journalists working out of Hong Kong. That government seems very threatened and is lashing out in some very frightening ways. Olivia Enos from the Heritage Foundation, thank you.
Thank you for having me.